Hey everyone, Dale here, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the Kia EV6 and whether the specification is worth it. Whether it's worth jumping from the Kia EV6 Air to the GT line to the GT line S, how much Kia charge for jumping up through those various specifications, and more importantly what that specification is going to be worth over the next 3 years. If you don't have time to watch this video, please click the link below. It's a spec checker. You can type in any of the specification that you want and it will provide you with a value of what these items are going to be worth over the next few years and also historically. So if you want to look to see how much panoramic roof and leather seats are worth on a Volkswagen Golf from 2018, it will tell you if you're looking to sell your vehicle. Likewise, if you're looking to finance a car and you want to know how much those items are going to be worth in the future, it will do the exact same thing again, but in the future. So you're going to see exactly what I'm going to see on screen. I'm going to talk you through the various numbers and I'm going to talk you through the rationale on how we price items like this so that you're more informed on exactly what you're purchasing. So I'm going to record my screen. You're going to see exactly what I'm going to see. At the top left there you can see that we're looking at the Kia EV6 Air. It costs £40,945, as I've just circled for you. We'll run through the basic spec and then I'll jump down to the other specifications and I'll tell you the various valuation for it. So it comes with 19-inch alloy wheels. It comes with a 12.3-inch curved touchscreen navigation, vegan leather seat upholstery, navigation-based smart cruise control with start and go functionality, a 12.3-inch curved driver's display screen, UVO Connect, which is an app, heated front seats and heated steering wheel, high gloss black door mirrors, body coloured exterior flush door handles, engine start stop button with smart entry system. Cost you £40,945 and the battery is 77.4 kilowatt hours. I've tried to do like for like in terms of battery and things like that. The only difference between these models is going to be the specification. So if I scroll down, you can see that you then get the Kia EV6 GT line. I'm going to try and keep both specifications in view as best I can. 19-inch alloys you get on the GT line. Now if you see my previous videos you can skip past this bit because it's the same discussion that I have about alloy wheels. From a valuation perspective we don't add additional value to alloy wheels. So if it goes from 17 inches to 19 inches to 20 inches, it's still classed as a zero value. We don't change the value for style or size. The only way we change a value on a wheel is if it goes from steel wheels to alloy wheels, and then if you jump from alloy wheels to something ridiculous like titanium or magnesium. But generally, alloy wheels are very subjective. They can compromise the ride as you start to jump up in size. And in that respect we don't add any value because honestly it's quite difficult to try and manage that pricing, so we just add zero value across the board for style changes or size changes if it's the same material of wheel, in this case alloys. 12.3-inch curved touchscreen navigation, and as you can see if you go to the top of the screen you get that on the base model, so there's no benefit in jumping up into the GT line just for a better curved touchscreen navigation because it's exactly the same one that's on the Air model. Vehicle to load, 3.5 kilowatt power outlet. I've added £150 to that. It's a nice convenience option to have, and for those of you that don't know what that is, basically it's a plug socket in somewhere in the vehicle, probably most likely in the boot. If you've got something like an e-bike or you're going camping and you want to boil your kettle, it will allow you to do things like that. And it's a nice little convenience option to have. So I have added £150 to that, and again we're looking at what this is going to be worth in 3 years time when you would potentially come to sell the vehicle if it's on a finance agreement. Driver and front passenger premium relaxation seats. I put a zero value against this. Effectively what that is a reclining seat. You park the car up, you put it on charge, you have one button that you need to press. The car will, you need to obviously check behind you to make sure there's nothing behind there like legs or items. The car will recline the seat into a position where you can relax, you can play on a game on your phone, you can have a little snooze, whatever it happens to be. But I've added zero value to this, and this is what I would generally do if I was doing this for real and I was speaking with Kia. It doesn't really make much sense to me to have a specific button to do that when there's a button probably in front of that or behind it. We can just hold it for a few seconds and have the exact same outcome. So it's not really a feature that I would want to spend an extra £3,000, which is what you have to pay Kia to jump up to the GT line, just so I can, you know, have a bit more convenience of just pressing the button once, because I've still got to check what's behind me anyway. So that's why it's 0. 12.3-inch curved driver's display screen. You get that on the Air model, the base model. So again, there's no benefit to jumping up into the GT line, so it doesn't get any additional value. UVO Connect, again, as I mentioned before, it's an app on your phone where you can see the various settings of the vehicle. You get that on the base model, so you not get any benefit by jumping up into the GT line. Black suede seats with white vegan leather bolsters. I've added £200 to this, mostly for the leather bolster side of things, and obviously suede is going to be a better material than cloth in a lot of instances. So I've not added a massive amount of value there, because it's not something like a full leather seat. But I've added something just to recognise, yeah, they are different, they do look different on the interior, and they're more than likely a better material than what comes on the base vehicle. So £200, again, this is the value in 3 years' time. Wireless mobile phone charger, I've added £100 of value to that. A really nice convenience option at the moment, but that's not to say that in the future, in 5 years' time, for example, that every new car that comes out will have wireless mobile phone charging. It's highly likely that will be the case. So this in the future will probably be worth nothing, because there's no benefit to jumping up or moving to a different branded vehicle for a wireless phone charger, because they all get them. But in this case, at this moment in time, I've said I think that is worth £100. So that's why it's got 100 next to it. Dual LED headlights with adaptive driving beam. I've added an extra £200 to that. If you look at the images on the right, you can see a little bit, there's a little bit of difference on the headlights, right over here. These ones look a little bit brighter at the top, and the bottom ones clearly look slightly different. Any visual exterior changes that we can see, and we generally will add value to that. So even though this is just effectively a light bulb change, because it changed the overall look of the vehicle and you can tell that it's not an Air and it is a GT line, we are going to add value to things like that. So I've added a little bit of extra value. And again, as we progress down the line and we're looking 3, 4, 5 years time, these particular lights will probably be on the base model, and this particular GT line model, or the next incarnation of the EV6 and the GT line, will have some new mental lighting system that takes over. So it's not a massive amount of value, because you're looking into the future of how much things are worth. GT line exterior styling, £700. Styling, extremely subjective on vehicles, but we have to take just a broad view and say, okay, if you've got a EV6 Air on your left in a car park and you've got a GT line on your right, and you're looking at them from a visual standpoint, and you're walking around the vehicle, generally what you're going to pay in 3 years' time for the design changes, whether that's the headlights, whether it's got privacy glass, whether there's piano black around the bumper, wherever it happens to be, you've just got to put a line in the sand and say, we think this is worth X amount of money. And that's based off of what we look at for other brands and obviously discussions with the manufacturer. And I've added £700 for that. Again, you might agree or disagree with these values, and that's entirely your prerogative. From a valuation perspective, we have to be pretty clinical. We have to rationalise all the data and information that we provide to these manufacturers. They want to know why we've come to these valuations, and we would have to obviously talk around it, and usually we'd get the vehicle in to test drive to get a full understanding, so that they know that we've come to a reasonably robust decision. And on the right there, I've put £1,350. That's the total value of what I think this specification is worth in 3 years' time. And above that, which I forgot to mention earlier, you're going to pay Kia £3,000 to jump up from the Kia Air to the GT line. So you spend your £3,000 in 3 years' time, I think you're going to get £1,350 of that back. So I hope you understand that. If you didn't, obviously, or you did even, please comment and let me know what your thoughts are on specification and whether you agree or disagree with me. Happy to discuss. So then we're going to go from the GT line to the GT line S, and again I'm going to try and keep the specification in view here, just so you can see what we're doing. Again, the same battery size, etc, etc. You're going to pay Kia £4,500 to go from the GT line to the GT line S. And you're going to go from 19-inch alloy wheels to 20-inch alloy wheels. And as I previously said about the alloy wheels, it doesn't matter that they've changed size. We're not going to add any additional value to things like that, even though they, subjectively do look better, but we're just not going to go down that road in terms of a value. 12.3-inch curved touchscreen navigation. Again, you got that on the base model, so there's no point in spending your extra £4,500 if all you really want is a nice electric vehicle with a really nice screen on the front of it. Smart power tailgate. I've added a little bit of extra value to this. This is not your standard tailgate where it's just electrically operated. This is where you have a key in your pocket, you stand at the rear of the vehicle, and the boot or the trunk, if you're American, will open automatically. So if you've got 2 bags in your hand or shopping bags or whatever it happens to be, just stand there for a few seconds, the boot will recognise the key and it will automatically open up the boot. You don't need to wag your foot under the rear bumper like a dog's tail. So I've added a little bit of extra value for that. It's a really nice convenience option. Not sure how much I would use it. I wouldn't want to think I'd walk around the back of the car and accidentally open the boot up. But my understanding is there is a button in the infotainment where you can turn that off. But you would think it'd be quite smart, realise someone's walking from one side to the other around the car and the keys moving. Augmented reality head-up display. I've added £100 to this. There are better systems, I believe, out there, like Mercedes, for example, and these systems are relatively in their infancy. So it's not going to get a massive value. It's not going to be worth like £1,000 extra, £500 extra for some augmented reality heads-up display. It's just going to get a reasonably generic one for more HUD information that it can provide you in a more robust fashion. Better visually, more information, things like that. So it's a little bit of extra value, but not massive amounts. Blind spot collision avoidance assistance, called BCA, with rear cross traffic assist, RCTA, and safe exit assist, SEA. I've added a 0 value to that and I've put it in orange. Specifically, I don't add value for safety items. I think it's incredibly dangerous when you start adding value for things like that, because what it says to the manufacturer and to the consumer is if you want to be as safe as you possibly can be in one of our Kias, you need to spend an extra £7,500 to jump up from your base model to your GT Line S, and guess what? For that amount of money, we'll make you a little bit safer. I don't want to feel like that. I want to feel like I'm buying a vehicle and it's as safe as it can possibly be, and I don't have to pay extra to be safer. So I don't add any value to things like that, and I do discuss this with manufacturers and they sort of scratching their heads thinking, maybe he's got a little bit of a point. But for things like, blind spot collision avoidance, I don't want to have a collision, and I don't want to have to pay to not have a collision. I want you to build that into the car. So that gets a 0 value from me. I'm not sure how other people in the industry value these things, but I personally never add value to it, and I do tell a manufacturer that I don't add value to it, and I tell them why I don't add value to it, and they generally understand the rationale behind it. Moving across, we've got the 12.3-inch curved driver's display screen. Get on the base level again. There's no point in jumping up to the GT Line S because there's no benefit to that if you're after just a nice curved display driver's screen. Panoramic sunroof with tilting and sliding function. Yeah, obviously a really nice option to have panoramic roofs on vehicles. Any vehicle really. And I've added a value of £500. It does get one of the highest residual values of any item other than things like really nice leather interiors. But generally, panoramic sunroofs are really up there in terms of their value and what they add to a vehicle. So that gets quite a high value in 3 years' time of £500. Meridian premium sound system with 14 speakers and active sound design. Again, if you see my previous videos, we don't add value or a massive amount of value just because it's got a big brand name behind it, whether it's a Bose, a Bang & Olufsen, JBL, in this case the Meridian. They're generally just going to get a standard flat rate value. So even if it's a Bentley and it's got one of the best sound systems in the world, when we write the value and try to understand that product, we're just putting a generic value against it, saying, yeah, we recognise that it is a nicer sound system, but is it worth the £5,000 that you're asking for it? No. Is someone going to pay an extra £4,000 in the second-hand market for a really nice stereo, potentially, but highly unlikely. So we take a view of looking at other brands, other manufacturers, what they're offering in their cars as standard, and for the money, and we apply a generic value to all sound systems generally. And in this case, it's generally around £250 in 3 years' time for a premium sound system. Remote Smart Park Assist, £100. I'm not sure if this is done through a key or an app, but basically it's getting in and out of tight spaces. Let's say you're at an airport, you've driven into a car parking spot, 2 Range Rovers are parked beside you with 2 massive doors, and they've not left you any room whatsoever. Push a button on your key or your app and it will reverse the car out, or drive the car out forwards. So again, a nice convenience option, and I've added value to that of £100. Body coloured exterior flush door handles. Now if we look at the imagery, they're all flush door handles. The most important bit of that sentence is that they are automatic, and when you walk up to the vehicle, it's just going to make it a little bit more convenient for you to get in there without having to touch the car and what have you. It's not a massive thing, obviously it's not that hard to just push a button on your car door. I've been doing it for decades now, but we're moving to the era of automatic door handles, and I've added a little bit of extra value just to recognise that. It's not much, but £50 seems reasonable. So I've added a total value for a GT Line S of £1,200. So you spend an extra £4,500, and I think in 3 years' time you're going to get £1,200 worth of that back. So I do hope you found that interesting, insightful, informative. If you've got any questions, please jump into the comments. If you want me to look at another vehicle, specifically for something you're buying, I might have a video already queued up for that. If not, I'll try and create a video to explain the pricing behind it. And again, please check out the link below, Car Spec Check. You can type all the specification in there and it will tell you what these things are going to be worth over the next few years, so you don't get caught out with adding spec to a car that's not worth anything. And likewise, if you want to look at a car historically that's a few years old, from 2018, 2017, 2016, and you're trying to understand why this dealer is saying £6,000 in options, in reality, this system is going to tell you actually it's worth about £750. So don't get caught out by dealers suggesting that their options, the optional extras on this vehicle, cost £6,000. Maybe they did from new, but actually nowadays, maybe they're worth a little bit less. It's highly likely they're going to be in the hundreds, not the thousands. So please check that out. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.